This is All Roads Lead To with Al
and Janae, the place where we share and talk about the people, places, and passions
that have impacted us on the road of life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of All Roads Lead To with Al and Janae. I'm Al.
I'm Janae.
And today we are talking about how all roads lead to back to school.
Yes.
It's that time of year again. It's just interesting how the clock just rolls around, and here we find ourselves with back to school time once again. Hey, let's start talking about some of our childhood memories with back to school.
As a child, this was an exciting time for me, particularly when I was in a school that I was familiar with and I was going to the same school from the year before. There were some times when we moved around, and so I would get nervous because you had to, kind of new environment, new people. But in the optimal years, this was super exciting. I was looking forward to having clothes to wear in the first couple of weeks of school. I initially had been wearing uniforms, and then starting in fourth grade, I started going to school where, you come with your own clothes. So shoes, no matter what, whether you're wearing a uniform or not, shoes was always, I think, getting your hair done like the night before or sometimes, a couple of days in advance. But those were all some of the things I think about. Do you remember Trapper Keepers?
Trapper Keepers. Oh, boy, that was a big thing.
Yes.
Big deal.
Yes, because the whole supplies. And so as a child, I look forward to getting supplies.
Yes.
Sometimes it would vary. Sometimes they would say, use what you had before. Don't you already have some markers?
Right.
It's I always wanted new markers and crayons.
Yes.
That was a big deal.
Yes.
You could use a ruler again. It's you wanted fresh crayons, markers that weren't drying out. But Trapper Keepers, and then the Trapper Keeper would often match a thermos, and book bags was a big deal.
And lunchboxes.
Yes, and a thermos and a lunchbox.
Deal.
Yes.
Big deal.
It was like a set.
Yes.
Oh man, that was super exciting.
Yes.
And when you got it, then to me, the excitement for back to school and taking it and having the goodies in that all was a big that was a big excitement, and it kind of helped with the transition of leaving your summer routine. I don't know. Did you enjoy summer growing up?
You know what? It's interesting to think back now. It seemed as though summer went on and on and on. Where now it feels so short, it feels so quick. But I guess I did enjoy summer as time went along. Summer changed, of course. But I guess from what I knew of it, I tried to enjoy it as best I could.
Yeah, Again, I think in those years, and honestly, this was probably when we lived in North Carolina, and Fayetteville were probably my best school memories.
Yeah.
And I remember one Christmas getting a bike, and so all summer, a few of us would be riding our 10 speeds, and so you would have bikes and kind of go, from different places in the neighborhood. So that was fun. But I feel like by the time it was time for school, I had started getting bored. Usually by the time it was time for school, I was ready to go back, because then I feel like you could really see people, because during the summer, sometimes some of your friends were traveling or visiting, or they weren't around. And so it just felt like everybody came back together and you got to see people. So I enjoy school for the social part of it in that way.
Okay.
So I feel like it waned in the summer, the social, for me, I think, at least in those elementary, early middle school years, the social piece. And we didn't travel as much. I didn't do camps per se.
Yeah.
I could think maybe one or 2 years where I went to camp for a set period. It wasn't an all summer thing. So I didn't have that exchange. And sometimes we did travel, but usually it was just for a very defined period.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was rare, really.
Yeah.
So summers could get very long and boring to me. So I look forward to back to school by and large, at least as elementary. In high school, I started to have a little bit more options, at least things I could do. So I wasn't as excited about starting the rigors of school, but I think I still anticipated what was coming next, advancing.
Yeah.
I look forward to all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's great. When you talk about those Trapper Keepers and getting all of the supplies and all of those things, I remember I always wanted, but never got an authentic Trapper Keeper.
Oh.
Never had one. Never had one.
Knockoffs.
it wasn't even a knockoff. It was something totally different altogether.
Oh.
Is what I had. So I had more of a plastic folder with. I remember one time it was a orange plastic folder with 3 rings in the middle and everything. So that's what I got. And I think it kind of had a pocket on there and everything. So I guess in my mind it was a Trapper Keeper, but I knew it wasn't Trapper Keeper. But I really, especially during those first couple of years, the crayons were it.
Yes.
Crayons were it. Now you can either get the box of 24. Now these were Crayola. I did get Crayola for that. You get the box of 24, or if you were, just fortunate, you could. What was it? Was it 48?
40, I think there was a 64.
64, yes, with the pencil sharpener, yes.
The crayon sharpener.
Yes,
That
yes.
really did not work. It just ate up your crayon.
And you saying it all right there, Janae. Yeah, so the crayons were everything for me. So I did get the legit Crayola crayons then and everything. So that was it. There was, as you said, it was almost like a show and tell fashion show lunchbox war
Yes.
as to who was going to get what lunchbox and everything. So I grew up during the time where G.I. Joe, the A-Team was really prominent. Then I didn't get any of those for my lunchbox and everything. You want to know what I had?
What'd you have?
Do you really want to know?
I'm a little scared, but yes.
Yes. My parents got me the Smurfs.
Oh,
Yes, for my lunchbox
that's one way.
and thermos. So that's one way of doing it.
They were nice and clean.
Very nice.
No real violence. They did have a couple evil characters, though, but that was to show you.
Gargamel.
Yes, to show you
Yes.
good and evil.
Yes. Yes. So that was my lunchbox.
So no He-Man.
No He-Man.
I feel
No.
like we are dating ourselves. Doesn't this sound like
Yes.
this really feels like almost museum?
Yes. Yes.
Strawberry shortcake, I feel like was pretty popular.
Yes,
Hello
for the girls.
Kitty, Superwoman. I think that was the Wonder Woman. I think that was a little early. I remember having Wonder Woman like PJs and matching sets. I don't think I had one for.
Okay.
I remember Strawberry shortcake, Hello Kitty. There were a few others.
Yeah.
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 Wow. This takes me back. But yeah, so as a child, you had uniforms?
Yes. I had uniforms pretty much all except for 1 year of my elementary education. So
That takes the pressure off.
I didn't realize that then
Okay,
as much. It was just kind of like, do what you're told.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what you're wearing. In other words, so
MC Hammer pants.
no, none of that. We'd get a new pair of shoes.
Okay, that was big. Yeah, sneakers.
So would get a new pair of shoes for school, all purpose. All purpose.
So not Jordans.
No. All purpose.
Hush puppies.
All purpose shoes and everything.
Loafers.
Shout out to Tom McCann.
Stride right.
Stride right. Yeah. So that was a part of back to school, and then that was leading up. And it's interesting as we were thinking about even this topic. I remember that when it even came time for me to go to school, I really didn't realize that I was going to school.
Okay.
I remember going with my parents on the day they went to register me for school, but I really didn't get what was going on. And then one day, a Monday, they told me to get up and get dressed.
Wow.
And we got in the car and we went down to the school, and they said, "No, you're going to school."
You remember your first day?
I remember first day of school.
Wow.
Yeah. I had this like sailor's cap and everything that I used to like to wear and everything. And I think there's a picture still somewhere around of me in that and everything. Had my book bag and everything. But I really didn't realize that I was going to school. I didn't realize that, hey, my parents would leave me and then come back. It wasn't a thing that I was scared or frightened or anything like that. But that was that. Then once I kind of got hip to the game, it's like, oh, we're going back to to school
This
now.
happens
So
every day.
So this happens every day. Then when the end of the school year comes, the summer comes. Oh, so we're not going to school. Now there's a break. We're going back to school at this point in time. So it's kind of like, I kind of got in with the cycle of things then. Yeah.
It seems like now there's even sometimes like a orientation type of
Right.
experience for kindergartners so that they get some experience. They kind of see the classrooms. I think probably to prevent that kind of,
Yeah.
you know, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I think my first school experience was really in a Montessori early childhood center. I don't remember it, but I remember that family members talking about it. I think that was pretty novel. My mom put me in like a Montessori, so it wasn't
Wow.
a traditional setting, and it's kind of, you're supposed to learn as you play, and intentional activities that weren't necessarily keeping you regimented at a desk or going from one subject to another and that sort of thing. And so that was early childhood. And then so I had different experiences. I was in California, then in Maryland,
Wow.
then North Carolina, then back to Maryland. So that moving and the changing of classrooms and teachers and new environments, and just being familiar, not knowing the hallways, taking the bus. Breaking news, like when they put the class assignments up. That was huge. Yeah. And then the tables turn.
Yeah.
Back to school looks different as a parent.
It does. It does.
It's funny. I saw on a local school sign at the end of the school year this year, the sign said, "Tag, you're it, parent." And so it's saying, like, for the summer, it's on you. We've done our part. You got them. And then back to school, I think for a lot of times you feel like, okay, you don't have to think about what you're going to do while you're working, or, the vacation period's over. You kind of get back into a routine. So I think sometimes there is a, like, especially when they're younger, like, there's kind of a return. But I don't know. Even when they were younger, and once we got into the routine, I think, kind of adjusted. But I used to really feel away when we would walk into like stores and see back to school supplies.
Yes.
Especially in like the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
I had just kind of gotten used to our summer routine and was really enjoying it. I didn't want to think about these long lists that we have of supplies that we have to bring back, and the book bag hunts and all of that.
Can we talk about that just for a second?
Yeah.
One of the things that really, I guess, was for me shock and awe was especially when our they started school, when we got supplies that we needed to buy. They gave us a supply list from the school. Sometimes it was customized to each classroom. So that was kind of okay. And, you name it, pretty much it was on that list. And so that was interesting.
Yeah, I think that was a time too where we were buying uniforms, and there was a lot of things that I feel like were demands as our kids were going to a Christian school. So there were things that we anticipated and knew that we would have to, have in addition to just getting them in school. But I think to help share the load, the aim was, especially in those younger grades, the children are using the Kleenex a lot. They're using the Clorox wipes, sanitizer. So have the parents help to stock. But a lot of those supplies would add up, and the children would be very intentional because I think they were encouraged to, be sure they did their part. So they were really on us. So like, you're getting lunches, like because they weren't really buying lunch as much. No. So we were getting lunch food to prepare for their lunches. So it just felt like an add-on. It just felt like a little bit of a pile-on at the beginning of the school year. Yeah. Just like, whoa, this feels a little heavy.
Yeah.
Feel a little heavy, the pocket's a little light.
Very much so. Well said. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I really dread seeing back to school signs, even now. And college is even earlier, so it still feels like a summer. I feel cheated. I've cheated a bit because it's way too early.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing is that they get out, relatively early. So that's good because sometimes you can get ahead of the June exodus. So if you want to slip away or do something, sometimes the fairs or the the crowd levels are low because they get out a little early. But the back to school in August, late June, July. I remember more recently we were doing back to school in July.
Yeah.
Like that was rough. So yeah, back to school. I think it's a change of seasons. It's a change of pace. It just feels like a weight.
And it signals that the summer is over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
sad.
and just don't want to see it, end, especially family time. The weather is about to change, it's a kind of, in families, it's a change of pace. At least it was for ours, going from summer rhythm, like you said, to a school rhythm as well.
I think some parents, it's a mixed blessing because sometimes too, it's a lot to try to, especially at a certain ages, it's a lot to occupy children if no one's home. And so sometimes there is a relief of like, okay, now at least, they're going back to school. You don't have to necessarily have their supervision to monitor and try to figure that out and be sure there's coverage. And that can be a lot too in the summer. That can be kind of weighty if you're not able to go away together. Then you have to try to figure and navigate that. And school and camp times, and they don't match up with work hours. And that's probably a whole other conversation. But that's tough because then it's the aftercare and sometimes in the school year too, but especially in the summer because it's going to seem like such hard cutoffs. I remember that being a little bit of a weight in itself, just how to balance that, especially if one of us wasn't able to hold it down. So that is the upside, I think, for some folks going back to school.
Okay.
But overall, I was more sad than happy to see school supplies. And I feel like commercialism, like I feel like you're getting fall advertisement and signs and things in the middle of the summer. In the fall, you're getting the winter holidays. It just feels like the commercialism just pushes the calendar.
It's almost as if it goes from a Memorial Day sale to 4th of July to back to school.
Right. All within like 6 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like that feels like an additional push.
Yeah.
I do remember trying to get ahead of things, though. It was nice to sometimes have done some of the shopping earlier.
Yeah.
Or have some things left over or extended so that you weren't doing everything all at once and trying to stagger it. Then you felt very accomplished, where you weren't just kind of in the throes of the back to school shoppers, and you feel like you already kind of had a head start. I remember feeling that was helpful in getting the process going. But it is a process.
It is. Indeed, it is a process. Yes, it most definitely is. I want to go back just for a quick second. Were there any differences for you in terms of back to school during the elementary school years and back to school during the high school and college years?
For sure. I mean, for college, back to school is like a move-in.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad some of the stores that used to be around aren't. Bed Bath and Beyond, I think they've reemerged in some ways, but that was a big go-to. And then getting there was a lot of things that you need to know. Like, I didn't realize that dorm mattresses were different size than like a regular twin mattress.
Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't have this, but with our children, the risers to raise the bed off of the ground, like that's a big deal to create more storage space. Having the storage bins, having certain type of wattage and voltage. There's just a lot to me around the college back to school. It's its own thing, and I think that for me can almost be an all summer progression, so that you're ready when it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's hard to me to kind of try to do it all at once. I mean, sometimes it necessitates that, but it almost feels that's definitely something for a progression. So kind of working back. High school, I feel like it was a little bit more on me. Like I didn't feel like it was as much as my parents were as involved as much. Like I think I had to get some of my supplies. I needed to know what calculator I needed. I remember that being a big deal. Like getting the TI 81, I think it was at that time. Who knows? I don't know if that's even what they're using now. But getting those certain graphing calculators, like that was I feel like I initiated that, and I would let my parents know, like, this is what I need, or I was working in the summer, so sometimes I had to pay for some of those things. Yeah. So that looked different. And then a lot of times if I wanted a certain clothes or something, I need to work to get them. So that looked different. My parents would help, but it wasn't just, I think when I was younger, I would look forward to them, initiating the back to school. And it just seemed more like you see the things accumulate, almost kind of like a Christmas, tree type of thing, where it's like, okay, you got the notebook, then you get the supplies will kind of come together. But in high school, I felt like that was something that was more on me. And if I needed something specific, I needed to know that. I do remember the binders and having the different 3 rings, and you had to have certain width, and certain teachers wanted certain type of composition books. And that used to be, I feel like I remember just having like piles for different teachers. And then I do feel like by junior and senior year, you're kind of like, I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah.
Like you were not as intentional.
Right.
Freshman year,
Right.
I feel like I had everything, and then you
The thrill is
realize,
gone.
yeah, by junior year, you realize like you kind of know what the routine is. Like, we're not gonna use 5 of these. This teacher needs this many. This one may need 5. And you just kind of figure it out. And then you kind of feel like you don't have to have it all on the first day. Like, I think by like junior, senior year, you feel like you just need like the basics, and then you'll just add as you go. I remember freshman year particularly, and freshman year I know for me was a little disjointed because I was actually in a junior high and then transitioned to sophomore year. So sophomore was really kind of my first year of being in a high school. But I just feel like that was very intentional. Like, just wanted to be sure that you were right. And I was in a new school, so I think you just don't want to be the person that doesn't have what they need and be that new person. So yeah, all of that was kind of a learning experience as you went along. But the elementary years were where I think the real excitement was, because there was a sense of newness. Yeah. And so it changes. So,
it does.
Yeah,
It does. For high school, I think I was looking forward to going to high school, and for each of the summers, I was working, like wall to wall working, like even up until the week before school started. I started work literally the weekend after school ended, and I worked till the week right before school began and everything. So I was wall to wall working.
What kind of jobs did you have?
I did outside work, cutting grass, planting flowers, digging things like that and everything, more grounds work and everything. I did that all 4 summers really for high school. So school was really almost like a break for me from working. And then there would be people that would be around and everything.
Right.
So that's what kind of like high school was. I still worked all 4 summers during college, but it was a little different in that heading into college, going away for me from home for the first time and everything. You want to make sure you had everything.
Right.
Back when I went to college, the big thing, you wanted to have like the tight stereo system. You wanted to be able to have that and everything. True. And so I got that for graduation and other things. I kind of worked, and my clothes I had to, work and get my money for and do that and everything.
Right.
But packing up and going to college, my dad, my Aunt Barbara and my Aunt Jackie took me and drove me down for college and everything, packed everything up. And I was really looking forward, to that. So back to school then, especially in college, it was kind of something I was looking forward to, because I was looking forward to new adventure and everything.
Yes.
So, yeah.
College is neat. We have to do conversation on college.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode of All Roads Lead To with Al and Janae. We've talked about back to school. We would love to hear about your back to school memories as well. So you can reach out to us at allroadsleadtomedia@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, stay safe and be well.
Bye. We are so glad to share our podcast with you. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and on social media.
So please listen, share, and tell a friend. about All Roads Lead To with Al and Janae, the place where we talk about the people, the places, and the passions that have impacted us along the road of life.